Good morning, everyone. This is our third video, and I thought we might do a Christmas theme. So I had this nice large platter, and I wanted to do something Christmassy, and I'm going to put snowmen on here for her to use. So here is kind of the process that I used to do that. My inspiration piece was some Christmas paper, and I love the snowmen here. And but I didn't want to do my snowman like this. I love the colors. I love the textures in the little designs. So what I did was I took the size. I took a piece of paper, and that was half the size of my plate, so that I could draw snowmen on there. So I have half of the plate. I did change the shape of the snowman. I like the little round snowman, and I put each one of them has a different hat. Some of them have the little top hat. Some of them, that's a top hat. Some of them is a little soft hat. Some of, and this one over here has the little toboggan looking thing. So I did change them up a lot. Then I got a piece of paper that was the size of my plate, and then I traced my snowman. I traced my snowman on the whole. Well, actually what I did was I did divide this into thirds, my first one, so that I could measure into thirds, and so each snowman takes a third half, so that made 6 snowmen onto a plate. So then I placed one snowman on each third. So then it came out, when I made my whole one, there was 6. So I traced the shapes of the snowmen onto this, and then I gave them different hats. I gave them different, they do have the little scarves on, and I gave each scarf a little bit different texture. I gave them different little buttons and different shapes to go down the snowman, and then I liked the little in between a Christmas tree and the little present in between each one of them. So this is my drawing, and it's completed. So I have put it on traced it on the porcelain plate, and I'm ready to do my line drawing. So after we do our line drawing on this porcelain plate, we will fire this, our lines will be on, then we can put our color on. So I thought I would go this first portion over doing the line drawing, and I will just do one snowman. I have mixed up my ink. Now, from my last video, I had a couple of people say, well, what ink do you use, or medium do you use to mix your black powdered paints with? I use a paint over pen medium by Kathy Peterson. Everybody has something different. You can use anything that will make your liquid paint flow through your pen. Some people use dark tinting medium. Some, I guess you could use lavender oil. You could use just all different kinds of things. I like this one because it dries, and then you're able to put a color over it very carefully. So let's do one snowman. I take and I scoop up my pen medium, and then we're just going to do the line drawing. For this little guy. Flows out pretty easily. I'll zoom in here so you can see it a little bit closer. My graphite lines are not so dark that they interfere with my pen work. So if you had too much graphite on here, it would, like I said before, it would interfere with your pen work. I think this is a very easy way of working because your line drawing is already on there. It's fired in. And then all you have to do is to lay your color over. I have put these little snowflake designs on here. Don't like that. Then I would finish the other little snowflake designs that are on. Okay, so there's one snowman, and I would continue on around and do all my line drawing. Line drawing. So, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to make a little red border around the outside of this plate. So I might want to, before I fire this, I might want to make a little border, scalloped border, where my red is going to be. Could be anything. Okay, so I'm going to finish this plate and fire it, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we're going to continue. I have the plate now, and we have fired it. I have fired it. This black ink work is fired in. I took a little sander and I sanded the whole piece. Then I have, then I'm starting to put the blue in the background. And as you recall, we have our inspiration piece here that had the blue background. And I really like this, so I'm putting the blue in the background of the snowmen. And so I've pretty much done all of that. Just a few more areas here, and I'm just simply applying the blue to the background, getting it up to the shapes, the outline. This is really the easiest part or technique for painting is your line work, because it's almost like painting just a coloring book. You're staying in the lines. So and when I've put on I've pretty much finished, and I've just put the rest of the blue on, and I have this little mop brush, and it's a very soft brush, and it is dry and very soft and dry, and I'm going to just simply barely touch the china, and I'm going to soften those brush strokes a little bit. And it has gotten into some of the areas that I'm going to paint later, so I'm just going to soften that. Then I'm going to go back and clean up some of these little shapes, like this is a small brush dipped into turpentine and squeezed out so that there's barely any turp in there. I come back and I just pull out the paint in those shapes that we're going to put colors in. So that's the way you clean them out. So I'm going to go back and do that and make sure that all my little areas are clean, so I can put another color in there. If we leave the color in there, it's going to get muddy. So I will do that in a minute. But while I've got my blue on there, I'm going to make the snow. So this is a wipeout tool. It's just a little plastic tool with a little tip on it. And since this is a glazed surface, all we need to do is simply wipe out little snowflakes. So we're going to wipe out those little snowflakes. Just takes off the paint. Okay, I'm going to do the rest of this, and then I'll be right back. You can see now that I've got all of the sky done. I've got all of the little wipeouts that look like snowflakes now. And what I'm going to do is to take one of these little snowmen, and I'm going to give him a red cap. And all you do is I'm going to use the a brighter red, and you just simply fill in the color like this in the shape on the cap. You get over to the snowman, and if you get it onto the snowman, then you just simply take your wipeout tool, pull it out. Okay. Now he also has an orange nose, so we'll put some orange on his nose. It's a carrot. Now on this technique, all you would do this time is to simply lay in that basic color, and then on your second fire, when this color is fired in, then you can go back and shade your darker color in. But this is really done on your next fire, so you can get lighter and do the shading, which is what we are going to do. But I'm just showing you what you're going to be able to do next time. So I would just worry about putting that basic color on first, that lighter color. Then if he has little black eyes, you would put that on. If he, now say we're going to give him a purple striped scarf. So what I would do is I would go into my blue and a little bit of my ruby, and I would make a purple color. And I might do the large stripe, the purple color, and leave the white stripe. So you simply lay in that color right now, flat color. Then we'll come back and do the shading later. You see? All right. Now for the snowman, and he will have little black buttons. So we will simply do a light wash of black on the buttons. Now for the Santa, I keep wanting to say Santa. For the snowman himself, he is of course the white snow, so we can either do a blue color mixed with a pink to kind of have a purpley color, or we can do a blue with a little bit of black and make a gray, but it will be very lightly. So we will simply come and shadow the outside shape of the snowman. Give him a little color out there. And this is the blue and the black. And then go down the other side. And give him some form. If you've got streaks, just come across it. My brush is very dry. See, and you get your shadow. Oops, where is he? There he is. Okay. And then underneath here, a little bit. And then on his face. Okay. All right, so there he is there, except he's upside down. All right, now I am going to do the rest of them, and I'll be back. So we have pretty much completed this plate, and shaded all my snowmen, and given them all different colored hats, and little scarves are all different colors. Done the packages and the little trees on the bottom, and this is all wet paint. And so I've tried to pretty much scatter the different colors all over. Use the warm reds and the cooler reds, the darker reds. My greens are varied a little bit: darker greens, the lighter greens, the yellows. So and now I'm starting to put on the border. And I wanted to put on a red border, the red border around the outside. So I will finish this. It's pretty colorful and a fun thing. So now I will finish the border and I will fire it, and then we'll come back and do our shading. Okay, so we have our second firing, which was our line work on all of our plate. Then we put our first coating of color on our plate, and then we fired it. This is our third fire. This is where we will do our shading on our flat color to make it look rounded off. And I have put another coat of blue on the sky part, and I have pulled off the color off of the little snowflakes. So now we will be taking each snowman and shading the flat green, the flat red, doing our shading. So I will focus in here, and we will take this little snowman here and do our shading. So we have a green hat. Let me adjust my camera here just a little bit. There we go. Okay. We'll take our dark green. Right there is our chartreuse. So we'll take our dark green, which is a middle green and a black green. And we will take and put a darker green on the side here. We'll come back down on his hat and put a darker green, leaving the middle lighter. Okay, see that rounds off his hat. Leave that in the center. Then we'll take the red scarf, clean out our brush, take the red scarf and put a darker red and maybe just a little bit of violet of iron on our brush and shade the side of this red scarf. Put some on the other side. Now I have to find a place to put my finger because it's very wet. Shade the other side of the scarf, and I'll go back and wipe out the little white snowflakes. We'll come underneath here and do a little bit of shading because that shape is in back of the scarf. A little shading right here. Okay. And maybe a little bit underneath the scarf or at the bottom of the scarf. Okay. I think I will also do maybe some right on the edge, on this edge. Okay, I think I'll put a little bit of brighter orange or brighter red on this scarf. I think it needs a little bit more color. Okay. Don't want to put a dark because I still want shading on that. Okay. Doesn't need a lot. Okay, and say this little snowman here, I think I did put a little bit of shading on here and on the side of his cap. Leaving the inside. Okay. Now I want to kind of round off that scarf, so I may take a little bit of green and I'll put on this side all over. Then a little bit of black green. Let's see, where did he go? Oh, there he is. Okay. And then a little bit of black green on this side. A little bit of black green right there. A little bit of black green underneath there where it tucks in underneath there. Okay, up here on his hat, we still have the green ribbon. So I'm going to take a medium green and a black green and put on each side of that shape. Okay. Now, so his hat's been shaded, his scarf has been shaded. I still think that maybe it needs a little bit brighter yellow, and so I'm going to take a brighter yellow and I'm just going to give this whole little stripes of yellow a little bit brighter. I think it could be, and this is just a mixing yellow or a real nice cadmium yellow that's nice and bright. And then I think that maybe the green, I'm going to go into some chartreuse and give that green a little bit more color just where I did not shade it. There we go. Now on the bottom of this scarf, let's see. Maybe on the yellow I might put a little shading of gold on the side. Okay. Okay, on his little red buttons, I would take a darker red, and I would just, I think maybe shade one little side of his button. Okay. I think I'd give his nose, this little carrot, a little darker. Okay. Now the little tree here, I think he would probably be finished. This little tree would go in since he was very light. And you might give the edges a little bit darker. And maybe put a little bit darker reds on the little stripe. Okay. You can play. All right, so and then so on and so forth. Even his cap on this, the little toboggan, you would go through and you would shade his little toboggan on the side there a little bit. Okay, underneath here where it crinkles. On the side. Okay. And even maybe a little bit up here at the top. All right. I think I'll put a little bit of color underneath this little band. And then I would smooth it off a little bit. Okay, see, that gives it a little dimension. Okay, and so you continue on around and do that to all of your pieces. The snowmen really do not need to have any more on the actual white of the snowman. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish that. Then I'm going to go back and darken this border because I want it a nice rich red. So I will go through and darken that, darken all of my other shapes, brighten up things that I want, brightened a little bit, like this yellow. I think I would want it a little bit brighter yellow. And so I'll go through there and do that, and then I'll fire it, and then I'll show you the finish. Thank you. I have finished painting this plate and putting all the details in, and you can see how colorful it is. All the shading on the little snowmen are pretty much done, and the ones that the presents, the gifts and things are not shaded, of course, just darkened the color. All the little scarves are shaded, the hats, and whatever, you know, that needed to be shaded is done. Got the border on. It is all put red. It's put on the border, and we are pretty much finished. And I will fire it, and I've signed it, and I have enjoyed this. Thank you very much.